right, we'll call the meeting to order for the April 19th Safety Board meeting. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Janowick,
Here.
Mr. Paradiso,
Here.
Mr. DeYoung is absent, Mr. Kometz.
Here.
And me, Mr. Moran, is here. Town Council Liaison Mike Schilling,
Here.
Chief Flores,
Here.
Chief Leduc, Board Attorney Adam Decker,
Here.
and special guest Beth Hernandez.
Okay, now we are, Clerk Treasurer Beth Hernandez is going to swear in the 5 new fire department hires. So I'll turn that over to you.
Did you have anything you wanted to say at all before, or?
I will talk during the badge presentation if that's okay.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yep, you're welcome. So I figured we'll just do alphabetical order, if that's okay. So we'll start with Mike Chelsky. Do you want everyone to sign right away then?
Yeah, you can do it afterwards.
After, okay. All right, so you want to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Mike Chichalski, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Indiana, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and diligently discharge all my duties as a firefighter paramedic of the town of St. John, Lake County, Indiana, according to law and to the best of my ability. Okay, you are officially sworn in. All right, Matt Easto. This brings me back to my teaching days. All right, you want to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Matt Easto, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
That I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and diligently
and diligently
discharge all my duties
discharge all my duties
as a firefighter paramedic
as a firefighter paramedic
of the town of St. John,
of the town of St. John,
Lake County, Indiana,
Lake County, Indiana,
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my ability.
All right, congratulations. You're holding
You need it up there?
this. Okay,
Well, nobody can hear you.
I can hear you.
okay. All right, Mike Haney. Turn this? What if we just turn this? Okay. That way it's. Okay. All right. Ready? All right, I, Mike Haney,
I, Mike Haney,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and diligently
and diligently
discharge all my duties
discharge all my duties
as a firefighter paramedic
as a firefighter paramedic
of the town of St. John,
of the town of St. John,
Lake County, Indiana,
Lake County, Indiana,
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my
and
ability.
to the best of my ability.
All right,
All right.
congratulations. Okay, Allison? Okay. I, Allison Semethy,
I, Allison Semethy,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and diligently
and diligently
discharge all my duties
discharge all my duties
as a firefighter paramedic
as a firefighter paramedic
of the town of St. John,
of the town of St. John,
Lake County, Indiana,
Lake County, Indiana,
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Congratulations. And then Nico. Vukovic,
I, Miko Vukovic,
do solemnly
do
swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and
and
diligently
diligently
discharge all my duties
discharge all my duties
as a firefighter paramedic
as a firefighter paramedic
of the town of St. John,
of the town of St. John,
Lake County, Indiana,
Lake County, Indiana,
according to law
according to law
and to the best of my ability.
and to the best of my ability.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you, Beth.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, badge presentation, Chief.
Sorry, Adam. So I tend to be long-winded, so I'll try to make this real quick so no one gets mad at me. Tradition is a staple in the fire service, from understanding why our trucks are red to why the marine lighting is used in our firehouse. One of the most respected story traditions is the pinning or badge ceremony. Tradition goes back to Benjamin Franklin, and quite possibly hundreds of years prior. Some feel that tradition can hamper progress, changes, and that I tend to agree. However, this tradition will endure for years to come at the St. John Fire Department, because this tradition is built on the core values of the fire service. It's built on the recognition of not only self, but the department, the second family. It is akin to a wedding, and tonight we are celebrating that our family is growing. So tonight, as we embrace one of these traditions, I want everyone to understand why this badge is important. The men and women receiving this badge have sacrificed countless hours, blood, sweat, and tears, and hours away just to earn a piece of steel. Why is this important? When the badge is pinned on the firefighter, is a tip of the hat to the Knights of Malta. Tip of the hat to the Knights of St. John, who became the Knights of Malta, my apologies. This badge resembles honor, selflessness, courage, and duty to others, and trust, and overall higher conduct of code that the firefighter must hold. The badge itself has a unique design, which is also steeped in tradition. To spare everyone the time, I won't expound. However, the number inside the badge is important. The number is your pursuit of identity inside the fire department while you're working, living, and experiencing with your fire family. Just like the badge shape has uniqueness, the number will always be unique to the firefighter receiving it. So now, I would like to individually invite the firefighters up with a member of a representative from their personal life, which is significant to them, as this is a journey to become a St. John Fire Department that was traveled with support. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Firefighter Easto with the representative to put the badge on him. Board members, you want, yeah. So I don't know if I'll talk loud enough or in the way, but Liz, here's the badge. Can you please put it on Matt for me? Don't hurt him. Or hurt him. Thank you, Matt. Congratulations. Thank you. Firefighter Haney, a member of his family or representative for him? Or members? Badge 21, sir. Congratulations. Ooh.
There's paramedics out there, don't
Yeah.
worry.
I think you're in good hands, huh?
She's also a nurse, so I think you've got better hands here. Congratulations. Firefighter Vukovic. Rachel, here you go. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Don't hurt him, unless you want to.
Yeah, hurt me.
Congratulations, there you go.
Thank you.
Firefighter Schultz. How are you? Mike's badge 23.
Didn't plan on this.
I don't know if I or stab him if you want.
Stabbing? There we go, release.
Just like you, Mike, it's not broken. I know, I didn't mean that. It's where you work perfectly fine.
Right there? I'll put a stick here. Yeah,
Perfect.
there we go.
Thank you, Mike. Congratulations. Last but certainly not least, firefighter, Timothy, soon to be Kraft. Chris, how are you? Congratulations, Elsa.
Okay, we just want to congratulate everybody and welcome aboard.
Before you guys leave, please see Clerk Treasurer Hernandez so you can sign everything.
Okay, now I need a motion for approval of minutes, March 15th, 2021 for our meeting.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Rob Clement, second by Ray Paradisio. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Monthly reports, Fire Department.
All right, so this is the highlights. We had a total patient contact in March of 141 patients. Of those, we had 72 ALS transports, 72 ALS 1s, 0 ALS 2, and 23 BLS. And again, the lion's share of our transports this time was pretty close to within 1% Dyer over Crown Point. You guys will see at the bottom our billing description. Again, the WPS will be Medicaid, the WPS, or MD is Medicare. So we generated $102,825.90. We did receive $60,866. In regards to the fire side, we had a total of 178 calls. Of those calls, the vast majority of them were in the corporate limits of the town, 138. One was in the Crown Point area of town. 2 were in the Dyer area of town. 1 was in the Cedar Lake area of town. Our contracted amount for St. John Township, we had 22. And then we also had 13 requests for mutual aid for our neighbors. Thank you.
Chief Flores?
Okay, from March 1st, 2021 through March 31st, 2021, the members of the St. John Police Department logged 22,079 miles and responded to 533 law incidents. The investigation of these incidents led to 21 arrests with 33 charges being filed. There were 140 traffic citations issued along with 177 written warnings for a total of 317 citations being issued during the month. Vehicle thefts totaled 0, other thefts totaled 5,321, and recovered property was 0. That's it.
Okay, old business, Fire Department.
The only thing I have for you guys is our current list was exhausted. You asked me last meeting to contact the 2 members on the list to see if they planned on getting their CPAT. I contacted both. I did get verbal from both, and one issued a wish to be withdrawn from the list.
Quick question, Adam, do we have to motion the list is dead since time-wise it still expires, although no one's on it?
I don't think it's required. The board certainly can do so if it wants to, but I don't think it's required.
Okay, well, I'd take a motion to exhaust the current firefighter list as there's no viable candidates left on it.
I'll second that motion.
I don't have the motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Pat Moran, second. Ray Paradisio, motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. New business. Chief Leduc.
Thank you, gentlemen, for that support. So we're here establishing a new fire list. This is what I'm going to come up with you guys with, and I have a few parts. The first part was the SOG revision. You guys mentioned to me that you wish that we would revise the SOG. The previous SOG mentioned that if they did not have the CPAT, the physical at the time, they would be moved to the bottom of the list where we'd ask them again. We kind of revisited that, and we intend to ask the candidate to have the CPAT at time of interview. So they will never make the list if they don't have it. So that's what is presented in front of you. That is the only change on the SOG. And I don't know, Adam, I don't know if you guys, we never really voted on these. I just gave that as a point of
Right.
reference. Continuing on, area trends. So there is a trend in the fire service that there's not many people looking for this job anymore. Area departments have been having a very difficult time filling vacancies. One of the trends that we've seen in other departments was traditionally here at St. John Fire, we've hired firefighter paramedics. Or we've had some firefighters that were EMTs in our organization that came up and we paid for their medic class, which creates some other issues down the line that I'll explain here shortly. But long story short, other departments were just trying to hire paramedics because that's the cost, the lion's share of the cost. Even area departments are having a hard time finding just that. There was parts of fire departments that said, hey, we'll hire someone off the street. We're not even getting people off the street that don't have any experience. So that the area trend is it's very hard to get somebody, which brings me to my next point. Cost for education to the fire department. So sending someone to paramedic class, this assumes that the person's already an EMT. Medic class itself is $5,200. For each attempt they take at the National Registry afterwards is $150, which is more troubling, and not troubling, but more something that we have to understand and take into account is class is 1,500 hours. Total hours is 670 in the classroom, 830 in the clinical setting, which is time away when they're here on the fire department. And in the past, the fire department offered overtime. This is something that the town council is wishing probably not to continue at this point. We'd have to explore options of either continuing overtime for training or comp time, which creates a litany of issues on your guys' end. The other idea I have right now is hiring a firefighter EMT. The area does have a lot of firefighter EMTs. We hire them with the idea that we send them to class, and we'd work through these finer details with the town council along a few gentlemen down the road. So two of my proposals would be hire a firefighter EMT. We would send them to class within 3 years. They'd have to complete their paramedic certification. That gives them time to get it, gives us time to work with the town council, the clerk treasurer's office, everyone involved to establish that process and how we would do that. Or we could continue with the firefighter paramedic, which is what we've traditionally done in the past.
Chief, do you think this would increase your chances of getting more interest in the department?
I think so, just by sheer fact that there's more firefighter EMTs out there. We would still have to address the medic class, but we're at a point in our fire department where we have the vast majority of our staff is paramedics. So we don't necessarily need the medic point right away. It's something that I believe in that everyone should have eventually. That comes in new, but it's not a need right now.
But if you hire someone without the paramedic status, how much time would they have to complete it?
My recommendation would be 3 years, but again, there has to be some discussion with you guys, the town council, clerk treasurer's office, of how we're going to handle the time away from work and if they are compensated for it.
Well, here's the other thing I would think of, and I've seen departments do this. If we do, as a town, send these people to class and pay for their class, then after they become a paramedic, they have to sign a contract before they go to class saying that they will spend at least X amount of years with the Village of St. John before leaving. So we get a return on our investment.
So in the past, the two gentlemen that we had do this, they did sign a contract with the town saying that they would stay with the town, and they did fulfill their commitments.
Okay,
That is something that I would also suggest that we continue. However, that would be after they complete the class, which is another, again, could be 2 years, 3 years, and that's up to you gentlemen, the town council, to find our terms for that.
The only other thing I would say with that is I would weigh the paramedic status. If you had people both applying that are paramedics and EMTs, the way the paramedic status would be weighed heavier.
So I did present to you gentlemen in your packets a point matrix for both. One for firefighter paramedic, one for firefighter EMT. And if you notice, the firefighter paramedic gets more points in the EMT application. We're just opening it up to those people that have EMT. Before we haven't. So as soon as you apply and you're an EMT before you've been disqualified, this opens it up to those people that are EMTs. When we are giving those points to people that are paramedics, because it does save the town, saves the department. They're more turnkey.
What would be the consequences if someone failed to or did not successfully complete that class?
So knock on wood, we've never had that. It has happened in neighboring agencies, and that person has been part of the contract, and Attorney Decker would have to work on that as well. They are typically terminated after their 6 attempts.
Chief, right now, there's a paramedic on every medical run, pretty much?
Yeah, so we have 12 members that are on staff full-time. All but one is a paramedic, so we're blessed on that end. So per the state, to provide ALS service, we just need at least one paramedic. We do provide a higher service by having 2 paramedics go the vast majority of the time, but that's where I was at with we could hire an EMT and not really suffer with our service that we're providing our community.
So could it be possible the rig would run with just EMTs or a paramedic EMT?
To provide ALS service, you need at least one paramedic.
Okay.
So there's times we have some part-time staff that's EMT, and we do provide the EMT and a paramedic for there, and we're well within our ALS certification with the state, St. Anthony's.
Okay.
How long does it take to complete an EMT class?
So EMT class is every bit of 6 months. I should know because I should know the hours, but I don't know off the top of my head. It's 6 months, 2 days a week, and then I think 60 hours of clinical time. And I guess the third option, and I didn't present this, but it's easily done, is we do an open hire. So hire people that don't have any experience, and then you give points to people that are firefighters, give points to people that are EMT, and then we just amend the points matrix that you have in front of you to give more points for that. That'd be the only thing that would change. The written exam points wouldn't change, the administrative interview and the senior officer wouldn't change. It'd just be the points given to that applicant based on his or her certifications.
Well, that's where I was kind of headed, to increase the pool, plus if no one's hiring beginning people, you're never going to have enough to fill the spots forever. You're eventually going to lose and be in a hole.
True. I do have I had that points matrix made up the previous hire, so it'd be pretty easy to amend and send to you gentlemen.
Okay. Next.
So we exhausted our list. I'd like some direction from the board of how you'd like to proceed. I gave another handout, basically some scheduled dates for testing and interviews. Again, that's fluid. We could change that. But right now, if I have a person leave, we do not have anyone on the list. So if a person leaves, person gets hurt, it's going to take at least 3 to 4 months before we have this process.
Did you include it, or I think we need to see a list of the requirements now and the testing procedures
You should have those.
in this packet?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Chief, are you ready to proceed with the test?
I would have to order the test. My suggested time period, so if this was approved today, we'd have to create an advertise from April 26th to May 24th. Then we would do a written exam. Like last time, we would do 2 written exams to accommodate those people that are currently on a fire department elsewhere, working the 24/48 schedule. My suggested dates for that were May 31st and June 1st. And then that would be followed by the administrative interviews, June 28th and 29th. Line officer interviews, July 5th and 6th. And then presenting the list to this board, July 19th, to be certified.
As far as the requirements go, have we eliminated the paramedic section and left it to EMT or anything else? Or is
No,
it all
I provided 2, one for firefighter EMT, one for firefighter paramedic. The one that I did not provide was like a general hire, but I do have that available if it's something that you guys would suggest.
So the test that you want to have, do you want us to make a decision on whether it's firefighter EMT or firefighter paramedic, or get the test going now as it is and talk about this stuff later?
Well, the test, there's an associated cost to the test to the department. So when I advertise, I would like to advertise to the applicants that would maybe have a opportunity to be employed if someone would leave or get hurt. So in my opinion, it would be prudent that we decide are we hiring a firefighter EMT, a firefighter paramedic, or doing a general hire, hiring firefighter or someone with just EMT.
What would you guess the increase in the applicants would be?
So this last pool, we did firefighter paramedic advertisements. We had 11, I believe, at the time. 2 withdrew, and 1 was an EMT. So we tested with 8. We tested with 9, I believe. From that list, we ended up with 7 on the list, and we have exhausted that list. So I believe opening up to the next level, which would be EMTs, you'd have more. I can't tell you how much more, but I think you would have more. I'm just telling you, neighboring departments, even with that aspect, they did this just paramedic. We're having a hard time getting a candidate pool.
Would the salary be different with the lower, not lower, I don't want to say lower standard, but the
less
less experience?
certifications. Yeah, so part of the reason I did firefighter EMT and firefighter paramedic, the town has a salary ordinance for both of those positions currently.
Oh,
So we'd have to create a salary ordinance for someone who's just a firefighter or someone who's just an EMT, and we don't have that. Again, I'd work with the town and Clerk Treasurer Hernandez for that.
And you said the matrix would award more points to the
Yeah, the matrix would, for the higher certification.
paramedics,
Yeah.
Personally, I'd like to see a higher requirement with both those in there at this time and have time to read it and comprehend it before I vote on anything. I don't know.
Which is fine, and I'm okay that, obviously, it's your pleasure if you guys table it and we talk about this next meeting, but just, I want everyone to know that we don't have an active list, and if someone does leave, we're at least 2 to 3 months before we get someone.
Right, well, I mean, it may delay a little bit, but I don't know if it would delay it that long. I mean, I would like to read through and
Absolutely.
and see which way we're actually going. You know, we've got both copies, but I don't think we've had a chance to discuss or decide which way we're gonna go or anything else. So,
Understood.
so if we waited till next month, and how, is that going to push back your
I would just
dates?
amend the dates. I mean, that's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
That was just a suggestion. Last time we also did this, we did it relatively quickly. This time I pushed it out a little bit further, so, because we're not in a huge rush. It would, if I followed this the same pattern that I had, it'd push us out to the August meeting of approving a list. But if we could still run it a little bit quicker and still do the July meeting, that's your pleasure.
I just want to say personally, it sounds like a good idea. I'm not the firefighter, but
Well, I'm comfortable with this, being a firefighter for 36 years,
Mhm.
and a paramedic. I'm very comfortable with this and letting him go. I mean, being that he can run 1-in-1 on a rig, I would rather have, right now, an EMT available to run with a paramedic than nobody.
I agree. I agree.
So I think the faster we move on this, the better off the town of St. John is.
well, I'd still like to see
Safety.
the requirements
Okay.
combined into one with the point matrix and everything, so we know what we're approving. And one example is, as far as the CPAT goes, I thought last time that it had to be obtained prior to the testing, and it wasn't, and here we sit with 2 people that don't have it. So, you know, that should be a requirement too.
So again, if you look at and I know you just got it, but both if you look at both offers or point matrix on the second page, it does say they have to have the CPAT, and it would be advertised that they have to have it, and it's also repeated in our SOG.
In addition, with the EMT qualification and the point matrix, I still like kind of to read
That's
it,
fine.
not just
Understood.
glance at it, so. Unless anybody else feels different or whatever, you know, your guys' opinion is.
Well, my opinion, I'd like to vote on it, but I respect your opinion to read it through. So,
I mean, if you want to make a motion, I'll certainly call it. That's not a problem. That's what we're here for.
I'd like to make that motion
Okay, we have a motion by Pat Moran
to expand the hiring requirements, I guess is that the right word, to include firefighter EMT as well as firefighter, paramedic with using the existing point matrix that the chief outlined and with maybe a stipulation of a time frame that they need to get that further certification down the line, subject to a contract or whatever.
Okay, I have the motion by Pat Moran, have a second?
I'll second that.
By Rob Clements, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen. I've wasted enough of your time. I appreciate it.
Chief?
Just a couple things. First of all, I'd like to welcome all the new firefighters to the fire department. Us and the police department look forward to working with you all, and we have a good working relationship with the fire department, so it's exciting to get some new faces, so welcome. Just a couple other things I want to bring to public's attention for people that are listening. Recently, within the last week and a half, we had another roost burglary, which an elderly gentleman whose wife passed away several years ago. He was upwhere near 90 years old. He was out in his yard working, and somebody pulled in his driveway and lured him to the back of the house, and the other people went inside and stole a bunch of jewelry and money from him. So those have been picking up because the weather's getting nicer, people are outside, and these people are driving around and looking for opportunity. So if you have an elderly neighbor or, somebody that lives in town that's elderly, please, let them know what's going on so they're aware of it and don't get tricked into these types of burglaries. So we did get them identified, and hopefully we're going to be getting them charged soon. Good. Last thing, we do have our second canine in the works. Hopefully, the middle of May, the canine school will start. So, and that's probably going to be anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks long, depending how well the officer does with the dog and the dog does with the officer. So that's up and going. We're pretty much done planning that. We just got to get the car finished, which should be within the next couple weeks. But I just want to let you know that hopefully by, the middle of summer or so, somewhere right in there, beginning of summer, middle of summer or so, they'll be up and running and on their own and doing their own thing. So we'll have 2 dogs out. So other than that, that's it.
Okay, public comment? Anybody? Okay, motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Ray and
Seconded by Pat.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.